Hello everyone, once again to this short video where we're going to discuss the struggles for Pakistan for getting the COVID-19 vaccine, and we're going to discuss everything starting from the very outbreak of COVID-19 since January and March, and we're going to get up to what is the current scenario going in Pakistan right now and what the government has to really say, what the Ministry of Health of Pakistan has to really say about it. So let's start. The very main problem for Pakistan is that it has not currently been able to decide from where the COVID-19 vaccine will be procured. And the reason is very clear because most of the countries around the world are now slowly trying to vaccinate their population and trying to figure out how the operations are going to happen, how the transportation is going to be carried, and things like that. Since the very beginning, we've seen almost 150 plus candidates of vaccine, and countries along the globe were trying to figure out who were the perfect choices for them, whom to approach to get the order for vaccines. So with all of this going on, Pakistan selected two vaccine companies, and that two were approved only for emergency use. And these two were, one was the AstraZeneca vaccine and the second was Chinese vaccine, that was Sinopharm. And all of this happened on 20th January. Now the thing is not to be repeated that the emergency use is only for severe condition, like when there is no hope and the things go out of hands of medical staff, the emergency use is approved and then the vaccine is given to the potential target or the patient. We've also seen recently that the PM Imran Khan has directed the government officials to speed up the process for procurement of the coronavirus vaccine, but it was not supported with the generalization of steps on how to do or how to execute the step. It was as if the speech was made just to calm down the environment that was going on regarding the coronavirus vaccine. Now we all know that when the COVID outbreak happened across the globe, many governments set up many measures, like they imposed lockdown, curfews, night curfews, they barred anyone from going outside, any religious or social gatherings, schools were closed, markets were closed, and it was almost like everything was stopped. The economic activity was stopped, and at that time Pakistan was already going on with its debt crisis. One of the major problems that Pakistan faced was it had insufficient labor records, which means that in case of that if they wanted to give some financial aid to its population, which was not seen, but if they wanted to give any kind of financial aid, they should have records, because they can't directly give cash to every one of each one of them. So the records were missing, and so nothing eventually happened. Now the video that I'm going to show you was from March 2020, when the outbreak of COVID happened and Pakistan addressed the issue formally.
आपने सबसे पहले घबराना नहीं है। हम मुसलमान हैं, हमारा ईमान है कि ज़िंदगी मौत अल्लाह के हाथ में है। हम आपकी पूरी मदद करेंगे, जिस तरह की आपको फैसिलिटीज़ चाहिए और जो हम कर सकते हैं, जो भी आपको इक्विपमेंट चाहिए वो हम अभी से तैयारी कर रहे हैं और इंशाल्लाह आपको ये पूरी पहुंचाने की कोशिश करें.
Now I've already told you that recently on 20th of January Pakistan approved two vaccines, and just 2 days ago they approved one vaccine from Russia. The video and the tweet followed next was of Dr. Faisal Sultan, and he was telling how Pakistan has decided to go on with the vaccination.
मैं आज आपसे इसलिए मुखातिब हूँ कि एक ऐसा मामला है जिस पे बहुत गुफ्तगू जारी रही है मुल्क भर में, और उसके बारे में सवाल और जवाब भी बहुत से हैं। तो ये ख्याल किया गया कि इसके बारे में आपको आगाह किया जाए, और वो टॉपिक है वैक्सीन्स का। कोरोना वायरस के ख़िलाफ़ जो एहतियाती वैक्सीन्स हैं उनके बारे में आपको आगाही देने की कोशिश करूँगा। इतनी बड़ी हमारी जो पॉपुलेशन है और इतना बड़ा मुल्क है, इसके लिए वैक्सीन मुहैया करना और इसको लोगों तक लाना एक छोटा कदम नहीं है, और ख़ुसूसन इस दौर में जबकि वैक्सीन की डिमांड जो है वो अच्छी खासी ज़्यादा है। इसी वजह से हुकूमत की तमाम एफ़र्ट कई महीने से इस सिलसिले में बरूए कार लाई जा चुकी है। ना सिर्फ कि हमारा पूरा इरादा है, बल्कि तमाम हुकूमत की मशीनरी इस सिलसिले में काम करती रही है और इंशाल्लाह जल्द हम आपको इसमें कुछ ठोस और डेफिनेट चीज़ें बताने के काबिल होंगे।
Now let's come to the authority that takes care of drug regulation in Pakistan, and that is the Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. And when these foreign pharmaceutical companies were approached by Pakistan, the registration and phase 3 clinical trial of the COVID-19 vaccine was done by Pakistan. Now let's address the issue that's troubling Pakistan. And the first one to fall in the list is the lack of vaccine manufacturing capacity, because unlike many other developing nations including India, it doesn't have any modern medical facilities and well developed vaccine industry. And just because of this reason, now Pakistan has to acquire doses at significantly higher prices. Like for a single shot of coronavirus vaccine, they have to pay approximately $5 to $7. That is approximately 1200 rupees of Pakistan. The second major problem was critical delay in approval, because in early December Pakistan approved that they require 150 million doses of vaccine, and initially they were to cover a small group of population including the frontline workers. Now the second thing to follow in the list was delayed approvals, because in late 2020, that is in December 2020, Pakistan approved its first initial funds to get the COVID-19 vaccine, and even that was a amount of almost $150 million, and that was only fit to 5% of its population. They had 22 crores of people and only 5% of them are going to vaccinate, and that's a quite small number of targeted individuals. Whereas if we look at other countries who were performing just like Pakistan, as if, for example, if we take Bangladesh, it gave initial approvals and in August they had placed the order. The third and also one of the most important problem with the Pakistan's vaccination drive is that China is also reluctant to assist it in the supply of vaccines. And just some days earlier, on 22nd of January, Chinese government ordered its officials to get 20 million doses for Pakistan. But the main roadblock for it is that it has to get regulatory approvals in Pakistan. It has to do some trials and it will take a lot of time, and the only thing Pakistan doesn't have right now is time. Now let's take a look at what are some of the special problems that Pakistan is facing right now.
लगाई जा रही है, इसके अंदर बुनियादी तौर पर तो ये जानना ज़रूरी है कि इसमें शुअर और बंदर की डीएनएज हमारे जिस्म में दाखिल की जाएंगी, और उसके अंदर नोनोबोट्स एक ऐसा मटेरियल है जो कि माइक्रोस्कोपिक होता है, जो माइक्रोस्कोपिक रोबोट्स कह सकते हैं उनको, वो हमारे जिस्म में दाखिल हो जाएगा और वो मूव करते हैं और वो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस देते हैं, और हमारे जिस्म में जो कुछ भी है हमारे बॉडी में, हमारी सोच में, वो सारा ट्रांसफ़र होता है उनको.
And this scene does not even ends here. Maulana Hazrat, who was a prominent personality in Pakistan, was also debating that whether the vaccine is haram or halal. And it is, if you look at the OIC, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has already denied such allegations, and it is saying that we have to look for our people first. So it is a special problem for Pakistani government and its official to convince the people and to let them take the vaccine. Now let's see what is the Indian response to this site.
As I had said, there is interest in many countries in accessing vaccines from India, which is the global hub of vaccine production. And insofar as these requests for vaccines from India are concerned, you would recall that Prime Minister had already stated that India's vaccine production and delivery capacity will be used for the benefit of all humanity to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. As regards Pakistan, I am not aware of any request for the supply of Indian-made vaccines on a G2G basis or commercial basis. And on the other part of the question regarding a response, I think the question is hypothetical at this stage and I would not like to respond.
Now the short clip that we are going to see next is of Pakistani PM Imran Khan, and he was asked this question of whether or not he is going to take the vaccine first.
Will you take a vaccine against COVID-19?
Well, I'll wait for others to take it first.
Okay.